talking about Christianity now, in Luke chapter 23, verse 43, the conversion that took place in the cross, where Jesus mentioned paradise by himself, is where the Christians are capitalizing in paradise being in heaven. Do you know why? Because Jesus died and ascended to heaven. So if he's promising the thief that told him to remember him in his kingdom, it should be the one that was transferred or that is transferred in heaven, where he eventually ascended after he died. Okay, so we have spoken about the paradise of the Jehovah's Witness, the rabbinic Judaism, Christian concept of paradise in heaven. Then, not Christians, fine, but there is another set of Christians known as Mormonism. Mormonism is a belief system of a particular set of Christians called the Latter Day Saints. Okay, their theology refers to paradise as a spiritual world, a resurrection. So you die, basically, you go to this spiritual world and wait for resurrection. So, in their context of paradise, this is a state of righteousness after you die, right? So, but in contrast to this, like, what about those that didn't live a righteous life? Like, are everybody going to the same spiritual world after you die in the belief of Mormonism? No. The righteous, those that die in good states, will go to a righteous spiritual world. Okay. And those that die in contrast, not in good states, according to them, they will still be in a spiritual state, but in a spiritual prison. Spiritual prison. And wait till the day of universal resurrection. After the universal resurrection, all persons will now be assigned to a particular kingdom, right, of glory. And this is a place you can now call paradise. So when you die first, you go to a spirit world, okay, if you lived a good life. And in that, believe you me, apart from reading everything about the Mormonism belief, I have spoken at length with people from Latter Day Saints. They explained that when you die and you are in a spirit world, you are not denied anything as a spirit. You can have access to whatever that you desire. But when you are in a spirit prison, people that died but not in good states, it's a place of confusion, a place of lack. You are not, if you had loved to, for example, to eat bread, you will no longer be given bread. You will be hungering for bread, but nobody will give you, right? So you are in a state of prison, denial, right? So, but after the universal resurrection, where both the good and the evil ones will resurrect to face judgment, then the final place for good people is paradise. So, but they are not so much pronouncing hell for people that did wrong. Okay. So, but they still assume, they still believe that there is hell, just like every other Christian, where the people in spirit prison will eventually go. Okay. That being said, let's talk about what Islam think of paradise. In Quran, heaven is called Jannah. Whenever you hear a Muslim talking about Jannah, is a paradise where you go after you die. The paradise is not just a place for everybody. They have levels. Okay, they have levels, but the highest level of paradise is the one they call Fideus. It's not like the levels are like down, up like that. The Fideus is actually at the middle of every other level of paradise, but at the same time, still like the highest. Okay, their words were written in Arabic, so I may not be able to pronounce the Arabic words properly. So the Muslims should pardon me for this. Okay, but my interest is basically on what the, the, the Islamic religion believe about paradise. The Muslims would prefer to use paradise rather than heaven when they are describing the ultimate pleasurable place you go to after death. Okay, for you to have access to paradise, you must pray, you must donate to charity, you must believe in Allah, and his revealed books. You must believe in his prophets and messengers. You must believe in the day of judgment. You must believe in divine decree. Decree, they have a name, an Arabic name for it. I may not pronounce it well, Kader or whatever. And then you must follow God's will in your life. So heaven in Islam is used to describe the skies. So just exactly the way it's described in Bible in the book of Genesis, heaven to Muslims is just that firmament, the skies. Okay, heaven in the literal sense of it means the skies, the firmament. Okay, the firmament, the universe. That is heavens in Islam. It doesn't mean paradise. Okay, so paradise is a spiritual place, but heaven is a physical created place. Are you getting it now? So probably to the Christians, the heavens is spiritual, or maybe it has a spiritual aspect of it. But I cannot even think of any part of heaven in Christian belief that is not attributed to paradise where God lives. I can't. I can't think of any such teaching. There may exist, they may exist, but in the Christianity that I believe in, heaven totally means paradise. The place where God lives. So if it is where God lives, it's the paradise where Jesus said he is going, and he has promised that thief that he will be with him in paradise today, that day. Okay, so and Jesus had told us in I'm coming to that, when he promised us that he was going to a place, and in that place there are many mansions. Some versions say many rooms. He's going there in heaven. So that is where God lives, and that is where Christians believe they are going after they die. Okay, moving forward, there is another religion known as Gnosticism. They believe that paradise is located outside the circuit of the sun and the moon. Okay, so it is somewhere on the earth, and it's somewhere it can be located around the tree of life, the tree of knowledge. So if that is so, this religion also believes that paradise is on earth. I've established one fact, that there is a place we are going after our death called paradise. Okay? We are not just dying and that's the end. No. Many religions believe that life continues after we die. So, but remember, the purpose of this video is to find out where paradise is, where exactly we are going to. If I merge the concept of heaven and hell together in this teaching, it will be long. Okay, so I decided to subpedal on hell. We already have a mental picture that hell is where, and according to brief, many religions did not give so much attention to hell. So, but we have already formed a belief or imagination that hell is the opposite of heaven. So where people suffer when they die, if they didn't behave well, right? They will go and suffer in hell, in spiritual states, right? I have also met those that believe that there is no heaven or hell. You are on earth, just like every animal. If you die, you have gone. You are not continuing anywhere. And sincerely speaking, I think I accept these people's teaching more than I accept every other teaching. That because this is the one we can explain, we are sure of. So they have gone further to say that if you enjoyed your life in peace on earth while you are alive, that is your heaven. But if you were doomed to suffering, trials, tribulations, a lot of chaos, you are already in hell. You are living your life in hell. So, in hunger, in penury, you are in hell. So, when you die, you are going to rest. So, whether you are rich or you are poor, if you are dying, your own has ended. I really believe in this theology. I believe in this teaching. Believe me, more than every other one. It makes more sense because every other thing we believe is by the Spirit. by the Spirit, by faith. We have no evidences, concrete evidences to prove such assumptions and such teachings. So, but remember these teachings were given to us by the knowledge or by the help of the Holy Spirit for our carnal mind and body and soul or whatever to digest and believe. And so, if we are dying and ending it on earth, it makes more sense. That is how the world goes round. New people are born to replace the old people. But that being said, we are still looking for heaven. So let's continue from when Jesus died and said something that makes it look like there is a place that is not on earth, that is paradise that we are going to. So let's look at what happened where he's promising us that in his father's house there are many places, right? So you will find this in John chapter 14 verse 1 to 6. In my father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would not told you. I am going to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again. Are we moving? I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, you shall also be. So, there is a place called heaven or paradise where we are going when we die. And from the things I told you now, decide for yourself from the whole teachings and confusion where you think paradise is. You die, or you are alive, you are living either in paradise or in hell while you are alive. And once you die, your own is gone. New people will come up and either live in heaven or hell, or that there is a paradise that is here on earth, right? That when you die, even you transform to that state where you inherit the paradise that is here on earth in the form of the teachings given to us by Jehovah's Witness and others. All right, then, but the Christians and the Muslims believe that there is a place to go. Okay, there is a place to go. So let's move on. Jesus cannot be lying, right? The Islams believe that Jesus is a prophet. Yusuf is a prophet. We know that he's a redeemer, the son of God. This is a topic for another day. Okay. He has said there is a place. So let's continue to look for the place. Another confusion I have after declaring paradise to be a spiritual place for those that died in a good state, we began to hear other things again. Starting with the story of ascension. Jesus died, obviously, resurrected, and ascended into heaven. Forget about whether it was on the 40th day after his resurrection or that he resurrected and just left. Going to paradise or to heaven has a criteria. Let's see. But before that, we now got into a confusion that some persons went to the spiritual place without dying. Two people without dying. So, are you people making sense of what I'm saying? Can you relate this to what I said at the beginning of this video? Whether God, making man in his image, had bodily attributes, or whether we are the ones that have spiritual attributes. So it's beginning to make sense. If some persons will go to heaven, to paradise, to hell, we will get to know if it's paradise or heaven later. So if some persons would go there with their bodies, they won't look awkward. They will look awkward if they are the only ones coming in that form. So the possibility is that actually that's God and his angels, have bodily attributes. So that is why somebody like Elijah, In 2 Kings chapter 2, verse 1, okay, Elijah ascended to heaven. They didn't tell us that he died. He only dropped his coat for Elijah, transferring power to Elisha, not necessarily transforming himself or his status or his stature, but he was rather shading power to Elisha, and then he ascended to heaven without dying. Okay, reference showing below. And then the second person that did this after Elijah was the mother of Jesus, Mary. The Catholic faith is holding strongly to this, and of course, it's one of the four Marian dogmas of the Catholic Church. Mary's assumption to heaven in a bodily form, falling asleep and being carried up to heaven. Okay, I have no Bible references to this, but there are so many books where you can reference this in the Catholic faith. Okay, you can look that up. In Mary, the mother of Jesus, you will find this story there. Mary was not ascended. Hers was assumption. He was assumed. Okay, concept of heaven and paradise is shifting from being clear as a spiritual thing to becoming a mixture of both. So we get there. Some people be will be humans, will have body and probably wear clothes. Because if you go with your body, well, let me not go into that. And then some will be there. Spirit. We will get to know towards the end of this video. Are there other things that will happen to make people be on the same pedestal? We're going to find out. So with that, I'm going to introduce another concept known as rapture. Let's talk about rapture. Basically, Christians are the ones that believe in rapture. Okay, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 verse 17. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the cloud to meet the Lord in the air. All these are in the bit, in an effort to explain the transformations that will happen. You saw how I moved from dying to transform. They are beginning to introduce other ideas of not dying. You will be raptured rather than dying and transforming. For the interest of those that are not Christians, let me just try to explain what the Christians are teaching about rapture. Like, what is it going to look like? What is rapture? If you go to Matthew chapter 24, verse 29 to 31, you will see a description of what rapture is going to look like. Immediately after the tribulations of those days shall the sun be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven shall be shaken, and so on and so forth. Trying to describe rapture. Those that were alive at that time will be caught up in the cloud and all of that. And then book of Revelation chapter 1 verse 7, okay, you can read them up later. He cometh with a cloud, and every eye shall see him. So those that are alive during the rapture will see everything. Okay, then we have the Lord himself will descend from heaven with a shout, and the voice of the angels, and the trumpet of God, and all of that. And the dead in Christ shall rise. People that were in the grave will rise. We also have from Luke chapter 21 verse 34, and take heed to yourself, lest at any time your heart be overcharged with surfeiting and drunkenness. Watch out. Rapture is coming. Now, is rapture Amadgedon? Is rapture the judgment day? Let's find out. Day of the Lord, doomsday, judgment day, day of resurrection, final day, last judgment, day of reckoning. So many names attributed to it, which seem to appear different from rapture, where Rapture has to do with the living. One person will be, two men will be together. They will take the one that is righteous and leave the other. Two women will be in the field. They will take the one and leave the other. So the one is the one that is righteous, and so on and so forth. So rapture will happen in our eyes. We will see. We have given you scriptures where they said we are going to see the Lord the way He is coming in the clouds, and then we will meet up somewhere in the cloud. That is rapture. Do you think rapture is judgment? The purpose of this video is for those that have the answers to my confusion and questions to try to educate me. You can make videos and tag me in response to these questions that I raised, okay? You can equally write comments extensively, try to explain what you understood by some of the things I raised, some of the confusions or concerns that I raised. You can please, so talking about Judgment Day, to Christians, it's basically the second coming of Jesus. Remember that He told us that He is going to a place to prepare that place for us, and that place has many mansions. And after He has gone, that man will come back again here. Fear. He would have forgotten what happened to him the first time. The second time He's coming, He's not coming. Mary will not born Him again. He's not coming like Nwoburu. He's not coming in our form. He is coming in His glory, according to the teachings of the Christian religion. Okay? He's coming to now judge us, sit on His throne, okay? Because He has defeated death. So He will become the ultimate power. He will throw all the dominions and take over the leadership of the earth. So, according to this doctrine, that day will come will meet us like a thief, just like rapture. Nobody knows. The Catholic teaching of death and resurrection is what is like the general belief. Apart from little digression, I read it to you in brief before. I said once you die, your soul will go before God to be judged, and then your body will decay in the grave. They have their backup from Acts 24, verse 15. We precede the last judgment. So the resurrection of the dead will come before the last judgment. So they are not the same. Rapture is different. Resurrection of the dead is different, and judgment will come after the dead has resurrected. Okay, this will be the hour when all who are in the tombs will hear the Son of Man, the trumpet, and all of that, and then they will rise to face the judgment. God will now come in His glory. In Gospel of John chapter 5 verse 28 to 29, Jesus will come back in His glory the second time, okay? And all His angels. This concept of angels, it's a video of its own, okay? We will get to that. So before Him will be gathered all the nations, and He will separate the sheep from the goats. The goats will sit at the left, go ye, and then the right, the sheep will be at the right. Those that saw Him when He was suffering and helped Him, those that saw Him sick, and so those that saw Him naked and clothed Him, and all this kind of stuff. And it's going to happen. Everybody will be seeing Him. The line go long, like from Europe to Australia. The line will be so long because everybody will be represented. You will be there live and direct, whether they born you in then first millennium, second millennium, it doesn't matter when you were born. Everybody will rise. So it's definitely going to be a long line. You go wait tired. By then, we don't know if there will still be concept of day and night, months and years and all of that. We don't know how it's going to be. So, but we know that the sheep will be separated from the goats, and He will place the sheep at His right hand and then the goats at the left, and they will go away into eternal judgment. But the righteous ones, the sheep, will go into eternal life. Matthew 25, verse 31, then 32 and 46, you will get the details of this. So that's catechism teaching were fleshed out from this Bible passage. Okay? The Anglican and the Methodists, basically, these people believe in the same thing, apart from the fact that the Catholicism said that immediately upon death, the summary of what Catholicism is teaching is that immediately upon death, each person will first undergo a partial judgment. Partial judgment. So if you die, they will judge you partially depending on your behavior. You can go to heaven even with that partial judgment. You can already go to heaven. Then, or purgatory. Purgatory. This is not heaven. And then the worst group will now go to hell. So purgatory is a place where people can always move from to heaven. So if you're in purgatory, you will eventually reach heaven. But according to the Catholic faith, if you're in purgatory, what will take you to heaven at that point in time will no longer depend on what you do in purgatory. In purgatory, you are helpless. So those on earth are the ones that will determine whether you will eventually go to heaven. In what way? By praying for you and doing some charity work in your name. And so if you are a Catholic, or if you are my relation and you die and you go to purgatory, it's my duty to pray for you constantly so that your state can be changed from purgatory to heaven. So if peradventure you get forgotten, nobody prays for you, you can remain in purgatory till the judgment day. Or maybe, yeah, because, or the resurrection day. One of the two, one of the two. So, but if you are in hell, if you go to hell, from hell, you will come. So, why are you coming for judgment again? Because, guys, why, if I die now and face partial judgment and I go to heaven, is there a possibility that after the last judgment I will finally I will be transferred from heaven to hell again? Or some people in hell will finally make it to heaven? So two judgments, I'm not getting it, seriously speaking. I'm not getting it. So there will be reshuffling. So why the first judgment, the partial judgment at all, if there's going to be another final judgment that will now, or seriously. So roll call that day, those that are already in heaven will still come out to witness the judgment of the other people, or the confirmation of their permanent place in heaven. Guys, I don't get it. And then those that made it to heaven after the partial judgment, let me keep putting it that way, okay? uh, from them we have the saints and the martyrs. And the crazy part of it is the fact that these saints are made by the living. The carnal people on earth are the ones that will make you the saint. How? I don't get it. You have died and you have become a step ahead of those that are living. In fact, you are even assured, you have been assured of eternal rest in a happy state. And then those that are alive, for goodness sake, while we are trying to make sense of life after death, we are putting up a lot of things. I put these questions to the Latter Day Saints group. They have a saint in their whatever, and they totally denied being associated with the saints, anything that they denied having serious doctrine about the saints. So I'm now leaving it to the Catholics, even though other denominations, Pentecostals and More of Anglicans still believe in the saints because they name their churches St. James, St. Andrew, St. Philip's, and all of this. Pentecostals use phrases mostly for their their church names, but they still bear the names of the saints, people that they believe are in heaven. Because apart from Judas, which we hardly hear people answer in the English speaking part of the world. If you go to the Spanish, Portuguese, people bear Judas because it doesn't mean Judas Iscariot. It's Jude that is Judas, right? So you see a lot of people bearing Judas in that part of the world. So that means that these other denominations also believe in the saints. So the saints are the ones that live the righteous life and they are believed to be in heaven. And they were made saints by the living. Hello, how sensible is all of this? And the martyrs, those that died in fighting for their faith, they become martyrs. And some persons that died will be saved, moved from purgatory to heaven by works of mercy. Do corporal works of mercy in their name, fast and pray in their name, and they will eventually move their state from purgatory to heaven. If you don't make it to heaven, maybe you will move to hell. Hello. It's kind of complicated, right? So, but the Eastern Orthodox also teaches that there are two judgments, the first or partial judgment, and then the final judgment, the second coming of Christ. They believe the same thing. What do you guys think? In Islam, just like Christians, they also believe in the day of resurrection, all right? Judgment Day. Islam does not teach that they are two different days. After serious tribulation, then you will be worthy to make it in heaven or eternal damnation. Eternal damnation. In Judaism, there is also the resurrection of the dead, last judgment. Okay, they believe. So there is another group known as Jainism. Okay, these people have a funny belief about this whole end time thing. They say that there is no judgment day, that after the fifth era has ended, evil increasing and all of that, religion decreasing and so many things. Only four people will be left. I'm not laughing, no, I didn't mean to laugh, sorry. So will remain in the world a monk, a female monk, a Shravak, and a Shravika. A deity from heavens will descend upon the earth to take this form, where they will vow to not eat anything. So, like in a different state, they will not be eating and drinking. That is what they think. There are so many religions that taught a lot of things. So, what did we make out of this? After you have died, you are in a place, then when the trumpet sounds, that is not the rapture. Or is it that those that are alive will experience it in form of rapture? Then others that are dead, will rise from the grave. But according to the book of Revelation, it's not like they have been in the grave. Their bodies are in the grave, but their souls have gone to either heaven or hell or purgatory after a partial judgment. So, but on the resurrection day first, they will all resurrect. Their bodies, they will come from wherever they are in spirit and take their body from the grave. So that is the resurrection of the dead. They will take their bodily form that they will use to stand in line for the judgment day. So the resurrection day different. They resume. They wake up, take their bodies, and then the trumpet sounds. Jesus comes in his glory. Then everybody will be in line to wait for that judgment. And then those that were alive, still alive when it will come like a thief. Remember, it will come like a thief. So probably they are the ones that will experience rapture, right? Then they will be raptured. It doesn't make sense because if, according to rapture, one person will be taken and one will be left. So that is, they don't have anything to do with judgment day. What happens to the one that left? Where did he go? Where others are coming back from? And the ones that are left, it's still not making sense. Okay, it's still not making sense. So now you see that we arrived from where we started. Yeah, I am confused. I am really confused. And then Jesus will now come in his glory and divide the sheep from the goats. And then finally there won't be purgatory anymore. I don't want to stress this point. Then eternal life in the celestial form will now happen. The good ones will move there. The paradise on heaven or in hell. The boy tried to explain this. The more confused that those that live a good life will now move the live, and those that live a bad life will now move to hell where fire will burn them till no ending. Hello. Hey, and new people. So after that, there will be no more earth. The earth will not exist again. They will not born new people anymore. The earth will now close. Then God will start creating new. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. So there will be a time when the whole, I don't know. Where is Jesus doing this judgment thing? Is it in the air? Is it on earth? Those that died, that wake up, those that are alive, all of us will meet him in the air. Where is this thing happening? Because by judgment day, that will come like a thief to those that are alive. How are we going to measure up with those that we already in a spiritual form? So I want to know where I'm going, why I'm denying myself so many things, why I'm stressing, why I'm being religious, where I'm being pious, why I'm being virtuous, why I want to be sure. I want to know. That is why I made this video. See you on the next one.